Hi, welcome to Words Worth Saying. My name's Amy Dean and I'm sitting here with Sally Riceman.
And my cat Teddy.
And this is Teddy, who has just finished eating the last of my Marmite on toast. And in the background we have the dishwasher.
Yeah, dishwasher.
The dishwasher, which has another hour to go. And the washing machine, which will probably beep during our conversation.
I'm a busy working mother, so I've had to sort of, get the house done while doing this. So, but I know you probably relate somehow, so thank you for bearing with.
So Sally, thank you for sharing your life lessons with us today. Would you like to just first tell us a little bit about yourself? Not too much, so we don't run out of time.
Okay, so I have a 7-year-old daughter. I'm married. I have 2 cats and 2 new gerbils upstairs, currently locked in the loft because he's discovered them, and we have to make sure they're safe. I did hair and makeup for years for television. I'm also a performer, singer, comedian, do a bit of radio, and I live in the Chilterns.
Quite a mix of skills then.
Yeah, a little bit of skills. Yeah, some skills.
What they call a portfolio career these days, very popular.
Yeah, you need that today.
Yes.
You need to be able to juggle, and my goodness, a lot of us do, don't we?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun to have a variety, isn't it?
I couldn't have no variety, I think,
So, what is your first life lesson that you would like to share with us today?
Okay, so I have 2, and it's one of those things that the more you think about, the more you think, oh, because there's that, and oh, and what about that, and so I'm going to give you these 2, because currently these 2 are sitting, poignantly. They're right there, they're strong. So the first one is about my sister Kim. So I have 2 older sisters, but my eldest sister Kim was born with something called Marfan syndrome, which is a progressive disorder, shall we say. And when she was 28, she had to have heart surgery.
Oh, wow.
And so she'd had the heart surgery. It had been a tricky time for her. And then she won this sort of photo shoot, and she was somebody who never liked having a photo taken. And I'd studied some hair, I did hair and makeup. And I said, well, I'll do your hair and makeup. We'll make a day of it, and it'll be fun, and I'll tell you some jokes and relax you, and we'll have fun. So we went and did this photo shoot, and it was the most confident she'd ever been in front of a camera. Wow. And she really loved the day, actually, which was a milestone, I think, for her. And in the car on the way home, a bit of Whitney Houston came on, and God rest her soul. And I was singing along with Whitney. Kim said, go on, sing, you love to sing. And I was singing along, and she said, oh, God. And I said, oh, what's wrong? And she said, well, why aren't you singing? Why are you doing hairdressing when you should be singing? Why are you not doing what you love? Life's too short. Like that. And I'm like, oh, my God, big sister's sort of telling me what's what. And 2 weeks later, she died.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and she died suddenly, and it wasn't, even though her disorder was progressive, it was a blood clot. They hadn't got her bloods right. Which must be a really tricky thing to do anyway, I imagine. And I remember going, oh God, okay, I get, you didn't have to die for me to get the message. I got the message. I suddenly thought, wow.
Life really is too short.
Because you just don't know, right?
Yeah.
So I went home and I said to my parents, I'm going to audition for drama school. And they went, great, where are you going? I said, I don't know, but I'm going to go and audition. I'll get a place somewhere. I'm going to do it. And a month later, I got the letter through and I got a place. I got a place at the top musical theatre school.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yeah, and I went for 3 years and I put everything into it and loved it. And even though through my career, like you say, varied portfolio career, I haven't done it constantly. I don't actually know many people who do manage to perform constantly, but it's certainly been this thing where I decided when Kim died that I was going to live my life for myself and for her. And I wasn't, if there was something I wanted to do, however scary, in fact, the more scary, the more I do it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, well, you don't know. And God forbid I'm not going to be that person that goes, damn, I wish I'd done that.
Yeah.
Wish I'd done that. So that was kind of her life lesson to me, that I would pass on to anybody, including my daughter and friends and family, you know, to say, if there is something, make it happen. Don't let the voice in your head go, oh, but you know, you money or you this, or just go and do it. Because you can always change your mind after, but don't wonder.
Yeah.
Just go do it. So that was a really big one.
Well, you certainly come across as fearless, because I've seen you on stage. One that Sally did an amazing one-woman comedy show.
It was a bit crazy.
One Mental Night it was called, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And honestly, I laughed the whole way through, and my stomach was aching by the end of it.
That's great.
Yeah.
I should have that on my website.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'll write it down. You can have it as a testimonial. Oh, just so funny, so funny. I would watch it again. I'd go again.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Well, I'll put it on again.
Yeah, if you were putting it on again, I would absolutely go. It
Thank
was
you.
so much fun.
It's really weird actually, because prior to that I was really, really nervous. It took me 5 months to write that show. And then the day of the show, I was at the theatre and the band were there, and I got this choir coming, and it was the biggest thing I'd ever written. And I remember thinking, oh, there's something wrong. And I said to my 2 friends, I had a warm-up guy and a choreographer, and they were in the dressing room with me. And they said, are you all right? I said, well, I'm really worried. I said, oh, that's normal. I said, no, that's not what I'm worried about. And they said, well, what are you worried about? And I said, that I'm not worried. Because it felt right.
Really?
So that thing of, why aren't you singing? Why aren't you doing the stuff that you love? And suddenly I was doing the stuff I loved, and I could not have felt more at home.
Fantastic.
Big stage, big theatre, and I was like, oh,
in your element.
Yeah. So she was right.
Yeah, they talk about being in your element and finding that one thing, and when you know what it is, to try everything you can to do more of it and as much of it as possible. And your sister was right. You do have the most amazing singing voice. It was one of the things that I was stunned by in your show. Like, listen to that voice. It was extraordinary. So, yes, she was right, your sister, and thank goodness you followed her advice.
Yeah, big one.
Thank you. So, how about lesson number 2?
Okay, so this is kind of cool, and I love telling this story because people are always like, what? So I was on the Anthony Robbins train. So for anyone who doesn't know Anthony Robbins, he's this cool guy from America. He was in Shallow Hal. He is probably obviously he's phenomenally gifted at business, but his real thing is human behaviour and understanding why people do what they do even if it doesn't serve them. So perfect example is I so want to be slim and fit, but I overeat and I don't exercise. Okay, so he's been obsessed by this and has studied and studied and studied human behaviour and psychology, and does this thing called the Tony Robbins Mastery University. And it is so interesting to learn about yourself and how you function and why you do what you do, even if it doesn't serve you, and when it does, but also to help you help other people. So I was on the first course, and it was in the Docklands, I think it was Excel Centre in London. This was years ago now, and there were like, I think 12,000 people, about 40 different nationalities, loads of people with headsets on for translation. So you can imagine all these different religions, all these different nationalities in one room, all wanting to learn the same stuff. It was really cool. And during his courses, they tell you about the next course if you want to go on it, of course, because they're going to want to sell you the course, and also, hopefully, if you want to do it, you're going to get something from it. And I'm sat there, I'm already in love with the guy, and I'm like, oh my God, you speak my language. I've arrived. Every cell in my body was pinging, and I thought, okay, I'm going to do the next course. And they said, well, if you want to sign up, you need to pay a little deposit. And that was the problem, because I'd spent all my money going on this course, and I wasn't working much at the time. And I thought, oh, well, it's probably not going to be much. It'll be like 50 quid. And the next thing I knew, before I'd even literally thought about it, I stood on a chair, because we were now on a break, and I shouted out as loud as I could, can anybody help me? Like this. And I thought, oh my God, what am I doing, you nutter? And no one really responded. A few people stopped and looked and thought, oh, bless. And I shouted again, can anybody help me? And suddenly this woman came up to me and she said, what do you need? And I was like, oh, would you be able to lend me some money for a deposit for the next course? And she said, sure, come on down. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
Wow.
So I jumped down and we introduced each other, and I said, I'm not working much at the moment, but I pay you back, I think it may be £50. And she said, oh, don't worry, come stand in front of me in the queue. And I went, oh, no, she said, no, I insist, stand in front. So we had a little chat. She was a really nice woman, enjoyed the course. And then we got to the lady who was doing all the forms and stuff, and she said, okay, that'll be £1,300. And I'm like, oh, do you mean £1,300? And she said, yes. And I just accepted there and then that wasn't going to be happening. So I said to the woman, do you know, it's been really lovely meeting you, and you've touched me, just the fact that you wanted to help me, thank you very much. Because I just thought, well, there's no way. And she said, well, where are you going? And I said, well, it's not 50 quid, it's like 150. And it's like 1,300, it was 1,300. And she said, oh, she said, in my world, that's actually not that much money. And I went, oh, there's my spin dryer going.
Oh yeah, here goes the spin dryer. Can you hear that?
Yeah, it's building up with me to the point of the story. And so she said, yeah, £1,300 isn't that much money. I'd be delighted to give it to you.
Give it to you?
Give it to me. And I'm like, sorry? Like, literally, I'm like, And she said, seriously, she said, just promise me that you'll go do the course, that you'll make the most of it, get everything out of it that you want, and enjoy it, and it would be my delight to actually give that to you.
What wonderful generosity.
And I'm like, I said, no, I'll pay you back. She went, seriously?
Oh my goodness.
You don't have to. She said, I would love you to have that. And I remember going over to my friend and going, lady over there just paid for the deposit for my course. And she said, oh, how much was that? 50 quid. I went, £1,300! What? And I took from that, because I am someone like my mum, if ever anyone needs any help, I do my best to help. Even if I can't, I might help them find someone who could help them, because I know what it feels like when you're sat there going, I need someone to help me. I've got a lot of girlfriends who never ask for help when they need it. And I think there's no harm in asking for help, because I know what it feels like to help someone. It feels good, right?
Absolutely.
So even though it felt awesome that this woman was giving me £1,300, a total stranger, I knew that she went away feeling good.
Yeah.
And so it's not about take, but it's about knowing that as human beings, to give and to receive is so important. It connects us, and it helps us make shit happen, not just for ourselves but for others. And often actually I think the person helping the person actually gets more out of it than the person, even though, I mean, don't get me wrong, I got this amazing course. I went to go on this course that was hugely beneficial to my life, but still there I was thinking, wow. So that is a really huge lesson for me.
And that's about asking for help.
Asking for help and knowing when to give help.
Yeah.
And to be aware of the balance in that, but always ask. You know, ask and you shall receive.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, whatever your feelings are on that, you know.
And I think it's important, isn't it, to kind of, when you're worried about asking, to put yourself in the place of the other person. If you knew that somebody needed something and they didn't ask, you'd be horrified, wouldn't you? That your friends didn't feel confident enough or comfortable enough to say, can you help me? Yeah. If you were in a position to help them. So, you know, whether it were monetary or a lift somewhere, or actually just sit with me. You know, whatever it is.
Yeah. Do you think this is going to be awful for everyone, my spin dryer?
Is it very noisy? If you can't hear us, very sorry about that.
A woman's got to do her washing. It was a busy weekend.
So your 2 life lessons. Just remind me again about the first one.
So, life's too short. If there's something you want to do, don't stop. Don't listen to the voices in your head that are going to tell you, oh, you know, this and that. There's always going to be a reason and an excuse, and really good reasons why you shouldn't do it. But if there's something you want to do, you've goddamn got to make that happen. Make it happen.
Excellent.
Regardless of how terrified you are, because the joy will be 1,000 times more than the fear you're feeling. Just go do it. And of course, the other one is ask for help and give help.
Yeah, and then sometimes you can make that thing happen, which is exactly what happened with you.
Exactly.
Wonderful. And can you just tell us briefly who it is you will be passing those lessons on to?
Anyone that I could reach.
Anybody you can reach. Okay, well Sally, thank you so much
Pleasure.
for your time.
Thank you for doing this.
For the tea, for the toast.
Half the toast. My cat had half a Marmite toast. That's a lesson. Don't leave Marmite toast out when the cat's in the room.
It is.
Yeah,
yes.
you'll have it. You'll have it.
So thank you very much for listening. There will be more words worth saying coming up. Look out for them and look out for more wisdom from everyday people. Thank you.
Are you doing?
Did you stop? No, it didn't stop.